Alright, welcome back to Cooking with Shaun. On today's episode, I will be cooking pierogies from scratch. So, let me go over the recipe real quick. Of course, I'll try to put a link in the description. We're going to start off with 4.5 cups of flour, all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, a 4 stick of butter melted. It's about 2 tablespoons. We need 2 cups of sour cream. Not going to need this whole thing, it's just I got a little bit in this, and yeah, you get the story. So I'm going to need 2 eggs, and then 1 egg yolk. I then will need 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I will need 8 baking potatoes, peeled and cubed. Got the potatoes right here. Next, I will need 1 cup of shredded cheese. Now, just regular sharp cheddar, whichever cheddar you like. Now, this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of processed cheese sauce. I'll probably just put a little extra shredded cheese in there because I really don't like or have any processed cheese sauce. And then the next is probably going to be to your taste on kind of how, if you've had pierogies before, you might like ones with onion. So I mean, you can always dice up some onion, saute them up, and throw that in the mix. I'm just gonna go with this. So it calls for optional garlic salt to taste, as always to taste, and then salt and pepper to taste. So basically, you're gonna want to be getting the filling to where you like it. It's good taste. So I'm going to go ahead and prep all this stuff. I just went ahead and pulled it all out. And I'll also start, I'll peel and cube all the potatoes. It's going to take a bit. This says prep and ready in 2 hours. So, alright, welcome back. I got a new camera angle. I'm not going to say how I did it, but it's totally easier to work this way. So you guys can see what's going on. So, what I got here is the 4.5 cups of flour, and I'm going to need 2 teaspoons of salt, okay, and we'll just mix this together. I just didn't know that this could be used as a stirring device. Alright, so now I'm going to put that to the side, and next we're going to work on, right now actually we're making the dough, so you always do your dry ingredients and then your wet ingredients. So in here I'm going to be whisking together the 2 tablespoons of melted butter, the 2 eggs, as you can see, and then there's another yolk in there. Okay, and then we got our 2 cups of sour cream. Let's get this up here. And finally, our, if I'm not mistaken, oil. Yep. All right, so I need 2 tablespoons of oil, correct? Yes. So we got 1 and 2. All right. Mess around with that. All right, and I'll just whisk this together. It's gonna be a little hard because the sour cream is gonna be cold, and so just go slow at first and keep going. so now we got that nice and whisked together. Go ahead and create a well. I'm just going to use this spatula so I can scrape the edges. And I'll be able to get all the good stuff out of this. Just kind of goes a little bit at a time. Just going to be making a dough. Alright, welcome back. I have finished kneading everything together into a nice little dough ball. So the next step in the recipe is to put a towel of some sort over, like a washcloth or something, and then let it rest for about 15 to 20 minutes. In the meantime, you can then switch to the potatoes, which by the way have been boiling after I peeled and chopped them up. So I'm going to go ahead and drain them because they just finished, and I will cut back probably to a scene like this. Just instead of dough, it'll be potatoes. Alright, and welcome back. As you can see, I've swapped out the dough for the filling, which would be the potatoes. They're now cooked. So the next part is going to be adding the cheese while they're still hot. That way the cheese will get all melty. So I'm going to go ahead. Remember, I said in the beginning that it calls for 2 tablespoons of processed cheese sauce, and since I don't want processed cheese sauce, I'm just going to put in a little bit extra. Okay, now get your masher. This is a plastic one since we don't want to scratch up these, and just start mashing. Sorry, I noticed that it was getting out of focus because I turned on out of focus to focus it real quick. So, back to mashing. Alright, now would be a good time to oops, there we go. Just add your garlic salt. And so we like garlic, so basically any seasonings you want to put in. And your onion powder. It's not really in focus. There we go. Okay, and once you get that all in, let's go ahead and keep stirring. Now if you want, yes, you can use instant mashed potatoes, but I mean, just for a little extra work, might as well have some real stuff. It'll make it taste that much better. Alright, so next thing you're gonna have to do, I'm actually gonna transfer this to another bowl. That way it will cool down a little faster, and I'll probably put it in the fridge because you're not going to really want it super hot. So, because this literally just came off and there's still steam rising, which obviously you can't see. So, I'll be right back. All right, and welcome back. I have gone ahead. This has been sitting for a while, so I've gone ahead and cut the main thing in half. So this is 1.5, and what we're going to do in a lightly floured surface, and this is probably a little heavier flour than it needs to be, is we're going to go ahead and roll it out so it's really thin, but not so thin that it will break. You may have to play with it a little bit, but let's go ahead. Let me get this like that. Take this off. All right. Roll out from the center. You want to make sure, like you probably just saw there, it grabbed the pin. So you want to make sure that you keep the pin floured and the surface floured, not too much because you don't want to add that much flour to it. But just keep in mind that after a while the flour will start wearing off and it'll start sticking to the pin. So just make sure you watch out for that. As soon as you start feeling it stick, go ahead and pull it up. Throw some dust down like you saw me do. Make sure it's all spread and even. And then there's no like chunks of dough on the rolling pin. Otherwise that will, you know, create it to stick. And just keep it going until you got it to the desired thickness. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut. And then I just got to double check the directions, see where I go from here. But you just roll it out until it's, you know, the correct thickness. But well, yeah, a little bit. But yeah, I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I went ahead and finished thinning it out, rolling it out, whatever you want to call it. I know my technique is probably not good, but I don't usually roll out stuff like this. So, that being said, we got our cool little tool. You really don't need this. It's just a suggestion, you know, make things a little easier. I'm going to go ahead and try cutting it out on the back. I've never actually used this, so this is my first time, so you guys get to see me possibly fail miserably. But just like any cookie cutter, wow, words. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we got a little piece that fits on there. And then go ahead and spoon. This is a normal big spoon. They're a good tablespoon size. Actually, let me use a little bit less. So we'll try this. As you'll see, it'll be kind of testing with everyone else. But go ahead, put it in the center. And then, ooh, one thing I do need, which I totally forgot to grab, is a bowl. So you want to put a little bit of water around the edges. That way it'll help it seal. So give me 1 sec and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Hopefully this angle is a little bit, let me see if I can mess with it a little bit. All right, you can see my terzies. Don't ask, it's one of those days. All right, so I got some water and I'm just going to very lightly just go around the edges. And you're basically doing this just so it can seal better. It's kind of just, you don't want to soak it, but just enough. And then just fold it over. Yeah, see, I put way too much in there. Let's see if we can take some out. So it looks like half a spoonful. Like I said, I've never used this before, never made these this way. But if we have a little spillage, no big deal. So go ahead and squeeze it all together. Came out the back. And, ooh, yeah, I definitely put way too much in this. Because it all came out the backside, which that's definitely not what you want. So probably half of what I used before. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset, cut out another piece, see what I can do to salvage this one, and I'll be right back. All right, this one, like I said, failed miserably, but I sort of got it together. They're not gonna look perfect like store-bought, but that's why they're homemade. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this again. Again, just like a normal cookie cutter. And then we're going to Get nice and stretched out. But this time, I'm gonna put a lot less in. So probably about half of what I did last time. And then we're going to wet the edges. And fold it over. Hopefully it doesn't squeeze out the back like it did last time. Oops. That's sort of working. We might ditch this, but there we go. Let's kind of crimp these together. It sort of works. But yeah, there you go. Pierogi. So I'm going to try to perfect the art of pierogi making, and I'll be back for the next step. Alright, as you can tell, I've done a couple more. They're currently in the next step, which would be boiling. So what I've decided was this is a good size to use for, makes a decent sized pierogi. But this part, it was just giving me too much trouble. It would either squeeze out the back or get caught in here, and I was just like, I'm just going to use this to cut a decent sized hole. So let me show you how you'll probably, you can do this with like, I don't know, like a coffee mug, because that's, right about the same size. Just whatever is circle and you have on hand to use. There is no right or wrong way. So what I've found out to do is, again, only using roughly about, I think that's even a little bit too much. So still about, a heaping half spoonful. You don't want a whole lot. Put it right in the center, kind of pat it down a little bit. Usually do just one side. And then, a little potato on my fingers. And just kind of fold it over. And then just kind of tap it down a little bit to get it started, and then pick it up and kind of squeeze it to make it a little bit flat, but then you will kind of want to gently pinch. If I can get that all in focus. And you're just sealing it up. You can use a little bit of force because you want this to be sealed, otherwise water will get all up in the potato mixture and it'll go everywhere, and it's not the best thing in the world. Now, like I said before, these are not pretty looking, but I know they'll taste good. So from here, what you want to do is you get a decent sized pot, fill it up with water, season it with some salt, and then bring it up to a boil. And then what you want to do is pretty much have it boiling and just kind of have something set up to where you can take them out when they're floating, because when they're floating on the top, that means they're done. You want to make sure you get to them quick, otherwise they'll overcook and they'll become soggy and it'll just be a nasty bleh. So that is the next step. So I'm going to go ahead, reposition. I'll probably do a couple more because I got a lot to do, because this is only half of the actual big dough ball and I got plenty of mix, so I'll probably have extra mashed potatoes, which is a good thing because mashed potatoes are good. But yeah, I'm gonna cut, reposition, hopefully not damage this pierogi too much, and then I'll show you what the next step looks like, which is the boiling process, which is behind me. Alright, welcome back. Like I said, I was going to show you what they look like. This is what they look like. Yeah, you can kind of see it. So it's obviously floating around. So you go ahead and you take a solid spoon, get off as much water as you possibly can, and then go ahead and slide it. Yep, you can see that too. I just went ahead, this is about as much as I've done. This one is one that I just pulled off the board, or the counter, I should say. I won't say cutting board. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead. It's been nice and crimped, and you just gently let it in. You let it sit. Make sure it's not sticking to the bottom, and you just wait until it floats. All right, welcome back. I've gone ahead, got the pan out, Got some butter melted in it. So I go ahead. You can do these a couple at a time. So just go ahead, put them in there. This one messed up a little bit. Yeah. Now, if you don't want to do all the boiling first, you can technically put them on a cookie sheet with probably some parchment and straight from the counter when they're still in raw dough form. So you can go ahead and do it then. You don't have to boil it and then put it on there and then whatever. It just, saves a couple of steps. But if you want, you can go ahead and while they're still doughy and uncooked, you can put them on a cookie sheet, pop them in the freezer. When they're frozen, just pop them off. That's why I said I'd probably use parchment paper so it doesn't stick or whatever you want. And then just put them in Ziploc bags so that way when you want to cook them next, all you gotta do is just pop the Ziploc bag. You can even have it, portioned out correctly. Get water boiling, place them in there. Once they're done, you can swap them over to a pan like this, or you can do them however, doesn't matter. No judging on that one. It's just I grew up, this way, and that's how I prefer it, and that's how my wife prefers it. So, come on, heat up. Yeah. So all I'm gonna do is just go ahead and pan fry these, I guess you could say, and enjoy, because I know they're gonna be good. All right. Hope you all enjoyed. See you next time.